And how does that happen practically? That's a concept, right? That's theoretical. How does that happen practically? It's through these afkar. That's how you go from point A to point B. That you're in your life, but internally you're connected to God. So it's not about leaving the world, but about being spiritual within the world. And that's what the afkar does practically. So if you download this app, this is the thing about it, is that there's a supplication for everything. You know, you're studying for an exam, you're going through a difficult time, you're afraid, you're having a lot of anxiety about something. Just going through your daily life, there's a supplication for everything. Even intimacy, there's a supplication. So what it teaches us is that everything in this life can actually bring us closer to Allah if we do it in the right way and we remember Him. So the afkar, and then finally the third part is connecting our hearts to the Quran, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we're told that it's actually a cure. Allah says shifa, that the Quran is a cure, shifa'un lima fi sudur, for what is in the hearts, what is in the chest. And then finally, so these are the kind of the three maintenance part, and then finally is just the emotional well-being of healing, and that is this. This is a bigger discussion, like it's its own discussion, but to summarize, we have to find a balance between two extremes. One extreme is when imagine a person gets a gunshot wound, right? They get hurt. And they just take a Band-Aid, cover it up, and say, I'm good. What's going to happen to that wound? Anyone? It's going to actually get infected, yeah? And then over time, that infection might grow so much that this person either will need to amputate or they can actually die of the infection. Now, why is that? It's because, but wait, doesn't time heal all wounds? Someone tell me why not. This cliche, time heals all wounds? In this case, why didn't time heal the gunshot wound? It wasn't treated, thank you. It was just covered up. And this is what happens emotionally and psychologically, is that sometimes when we're in pain, we go through a painful experience, we go through trauma, and our way of dealing with it is just to cover it up, right? Just numb it, right? You can keep taking that painkiller, but it hasn't addressed the actual infection. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that we make. It doesn't make it go away. It actually makes it worse. And in this case, time is not healing that wound, it's making it worse. And that's because it wasn't treated. How do you treat these wounds? Well, that's another process. Sometimes it involves getting mental health, getting counseling. Sometimes it involves going to the doctor. But what is that process? You have to go through that process. And whether you go to a doctor or you go for counseling, one essential part of healing is going to God, is going to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because one of the attributes of Allah is a shafi. He is the healer. And even if you go to a doctor, the doctor is a tool. Allah is the healer. Does that make sense? So Allah is ultimately the one who heals, but we go to doctors and we're told to take these means, going to a counselor, going for therapy. But Allah is ultimately the healer. So always going back to Allah. The other extreme. So we said one extreme is to cover it up. The other extreme is what I call picking the scab. And this is another mistake that sometimes we make, and that is that we don't allow things to heal because we keep picking at it. Anyone have picking scab problems?